All right, guys, it's been a few days, but I want to go ahead and give my thoughts on Supercross last weekend at San Francisco. That was round two, and it was an absolute mutter. You might have seen my video about the teams having to wash the bikes because the city didn't want them to push them back to the pits on the streets and get mud on the streets. Even though it's the rainy season, whatever. Seemed a bit ridiculous, but okay. Absolute mutter, and I'll tell you, I am not a fan of mud riding or mud racing really because it takes a lot of the physics away from it that are so fun to watch. It's fun to see guys hit supercross triples and throw big whips and do cool rhythms and stuff like that, and you don't get that in a mud race. But with that being said, what I sometimes forget is that a mud race like that with completely different variables can really shake things up and make them fun in like a points way. And that's kind of what we got. So it's just refreshing to see different guys up front, like, Ryder D, seeing him come out and win that heat race in 250s was pretty cool. We know he's a good rider, but we hadn't seen anything like that out of him before. And then we get to the main, and he's what, barely cracking the top 10. So that was cool. Jordan Smith was a big, big surprise. The bummer of the night was Joe Shimoda with his bike failing. I think he went down a couple times and the bike failed. I never heard what happened to the bike, which is like one of the most interesting things are when these bikes fail. And a lot of times in this sport, for some reason, we never get told what happens or why when it's the coolest part of it. So if anybody knows, maybe you can leave those down there in the comments. So the 250 main really did shake things up. So Jordan Smith got the win, but RJ was the points leader, and he finished way back, what, like ninth or 10th. I guess that's a hidden treat of the mud riding. And I think everybody can agree that we all wanted to see Filthy Phil get another podium. Like he said in his interview, that may be one of his last shots. And of course, at least it's his teammate and his buddy that took it from him at the last second. So a fourth by Phil is awesome. And 450 pleasant surprises. Prado with a win is pretty cool. That wire to wire. AP qualifying the fastest was awesome. Everybody was calling this race for him, and I was hoping for it, but things rarely work out that way. So Ferrandis won the other heat, which was his first heat win. So we're getting a guy that's brand new to Supercross, obviously no wins, and a guy that's never won a heat in Supercross. Another guy that's never won a Supercross that qualified fastest. So, we did get some gifts. The 450 main, probably the coolest thing I saw all night was Sexton's start. He absolutely nailed that. It was cool to see him come out and, get the win on the KTM. I guess since there was no whoops, that we didn't have to worry about that KTM rigid frame you guys are always crying about. But speaking of the whoops, I was a little bummed they took those out. The reason I feel that was the wrong move is because those whoops at the speed they had to go through them in the mud, they weren't dangerous. Yes, there's crashes. I guess something could always happen, but it wasn't like their fourth gear through the whoops crashing. The guys were pretty much having to roll every whoop, and there was a lot of crashes. But I think taking them out was the wrong move. I think those should have been left. We saw Hunter go around him in heat races, and then there's a lot of talk about that, but we won't get into that. But I'm a little bit more of a Jet fan now than I was when the race started because I saw Jet struggle, and now he doesn't have the points lead. He's got some adversity to overcome, which makes me a little bit more of a Jet fan. I'll be pulling for him just a little bit more next week, but it's so refreshing to see somebody else win, and it was awesome to see Tomac do so well, also. So I can't remember what he finished at round one, but second place was a major, major improvement. And the last really thing I want to hit on is Beta. We're pumped they're at the races. They missed the main yet again. I believe Benny Bloss had some kind of bike issue once again, which we still don't know what it was. We probably will never know, but keep trying, Beta, and I'm sure you guys will get there. I'm ready for next weekend.